All right, we'll call the meeting to order at 6:01. We'll start with roll call.
Roll call, Ian Hurley. Here. Patrick King. Here. Natalie Drozda.
Here.
Tom Subcheck. Here. What's going on? Megan Clark. Amanda Rost.
Here.
Michelle Varnell. Mary Ann Banks.
Here.
And JJ Zanetta.
We have a quorum, so we will continue on. First thing is the minutes in your pack from the last meeting on June 17th. They're in your packet. Is there a motion to approve the minutes? Okay, a second?
I'll second.
All in favor of approving the minutes?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, the minutes are approved. Next up is citizens' comments. We don't have anybody online and we don't have anyone in the room. So unless somebody has something to report from someone, I think we can skip that.
If you want to just, I don't know if this would be the spot or not, I just sent a briefing out from a previous citizen's comment. She followed up and watched the meeting. She had to split, if you remember, after she talked.
We worked in both, or-
So she followed up on some of her comments earlier. We're gonna get the nice kind of tapered ramp at the top of Earlswood. If you remember, she said she's an active biker, and that bump to come down through, that's something simple. So we're able to do that. I think we'll do that tomorrow morning probably. She had some other comments about pavilions, conditions, kind of maybe do's and don'ts of stuff we could add to language or rental contracts. David's gonna look through that. He had let her know and see if we can't find some verbiage that curves some of that would be nice. So just to let you know that we followed up with a previous citizen's comment that had a follow-up email on their own. So good for her for continuing
Somebody does
to
listen to the
engage.
meetings.
Hey, if I could just interject, I did add questions to the reservation process for all pavilions that addressed her concerns, litter, including confetti. What were the other two items in there?
Glitter and stapling, or I think.
Oh, yeah, I did say decorations can't be attached in any way that will mark the pavilion. And there's a third question in there too that's escaping me at the moment, but those are all in there. And in order to continue with the reservation, you have to agree to those three items. So that's done.
Just to put it in people's minds.
Mm-hmm.
At least we're trying, right? They may or may not listen, but.
Exactly.
Good effort. All right, great. Chairperson's report. I don't have any report tonight. The commission liaison.
Great,
Do you have anything?
yesterday was our meeting. I think the thing that was most pertinent to our group here is we advanced an ordinance to put stricter regulations on e-bikes or a whole host of different, electric
Scooters, bikes, et cetera.
scooters, everything, in parks. So because there's been instances of kids riding on the turf, kids on the golf course, which we were able to, the police did get involved with that one. So, we did advance that
Okay.
to put more teeth into it, yeah.
The no wheels on the turf has been in place, but nobody tends to listen to that. So all the help they can get on keeping
Yes,
the turf
absolutely.
nice is helpful, because me yelling at kids is not enough. Even though I do every time I see someone on there.
That's fields and public parks, right? It's
Right.
everything.
Right,
So for example, that green area
parklets.
on Longview and Woodhaven, that's a little
Ooh.
green park.
Oh,
That would be
Spalding?
included, Spalding Circle.
Yeah, they said parklets,
That's Mount Lebanon owned,
Yeah.
right?
I would think,
These kids are all over that.
yes,
Yeah.
oh yeah.
I think it's
Yes.
their personal motocross.
Well, because
Yeah.
they have that shelf cutted to
Yeah,
it
it's
now,
like their
it's
way.
kind of a, yeah, I would do it.
And the law is.
If my joints were younger,
Like that.
And the law is 13, you have to be 16 years of age to use even the scooters, electric scooters. And I think they believe they are supposed to have helmets too as well, not on sidewalks.
See, I was told that, and this is just, I think, the miscommunication that's out there,
that they had to be 16 to ride it on the roadway, but they should ride it on the
Yep.
sidewalks.
So this is all sidewalks in Mount Lebanon, or all, everywhere, not just the parks, or is it in the parks? I think this whole thing is very confusing.
It is very confusing, and the kids don't understand it, and the parents don't
Well, there
understand
is, so the police are going to do a presentation with all grade school kids initiative, right, when they first start off this year. And they're gonna go over everything within that to try to do that education for the parents that are buying these things for the kids and for the children too as well. So,
So the rule very specifically is, are they allowed to ride e-bikes and scooters on sidewalks?
I do not believe so, no.
Okay, and then to be,
And that's an ordinance before, That was an ordinance
You're not allowed to ride
before
bicycles
in
on
Mount Lebanon.
sidewalks. You're not supposed to ride bicycles on sidewalks.
I thought I
Right,
remembered that,
exactly.
I
Yeah,
thought
you're
I
not-
remembered that
It-
from like the
it's-
90s,
yes, yes.
I say that to
Sidewalks are-
people and they're
Yes.
like, no, that's not right. They're allowed to ride it on the sidewalks, not on the streetway.
And so that's why they're gonna do that education in the school.
But they don't want kids under 16 on them, period.
That's illegal.
Okay, interesting.
For scooters and for e-bikes.
Yep.
On the roadways.
Yes. And then there's there's the non-pedal electric,
Like mini motorcycle type thing.
yes. Those two as well,
Is that Pennsylvania law?
yes.
I see a lot of kids riding e-bikes through Twin Hills where I take the dog every day, and most of them are fairly responsible. Although I noted on the ordinance that's pasted on the back of the entry kiosk, which I'm sure everyone stops to read assiduously. It already prohibits the operation of motorized vehicles. And I'll leave it to the lawyers, but I would think that would already cover.
We want it to be very specific, so there's
Yeah, I
not any kind of,
Yeah,
Good.
adding more
Limited.
language isn't gonna hurt in this
No.
case.
Yeah,
because with the ordinance that is in effect covers this too, but we just really want to make it clear, especially in parks and on the turf and in the golf course, whatnot. So just to make it abundantly clear, any of those motorized.
And is this, you said it's been moved forward, has it been
Yes.
passed, or is it?
Will be
passed.
I
How
think they
long
have
is
to
my
have some
phone really
public
at?
hearing
Okay,
for it. So it was presented, it went to the transportation board too. They made some changes and last night it was introduced. So then we have to have a period of public input and then it'll be.
so probably around the time school starts is when it would be implemented anyway.
Yeah.
So where can kids ride their bikes and scooters? Like, not e-bikes, but just regular bikes and
Regular
scooters?
bikes you can ride on the road.
Yes.
You can't ride them on the
Yes.
turf or on the golf
Yes.
course, but you can ride them.
Can you ride them on sidewalks?
Not really, because you're getting in the way of
Of
people,
pedestrians.
pedestrians. That's the thing we're most concerned about, is somebody, especially if they're going fast there, and somebody's elderly or whatnot walking down on the sidewalk.
Right.
I thought I remembered this from the 90s when skateboards were in and they said, you know, everyone wanted to ride skateboards and they said there was a big thing, you can't ride them on the sidewalks.
I think they need to do as part of this, and I can send an email, but the other thing that is part of this education is what side of the road people are supposed to be on. That you're with traffic if you're on wheels and you're against traffic if you're walking. I know in my neighborhood, I would love for people to figure out what side of the road they would like to be on. There's no sidewalks. It's a big walking community. And people are constantly in the wrong place. And it's very difficult when you're trying to maneuver, especially add leaves to that in the fall. It's a mess. So that's another thing as part of the school education, they should be educating kids and parents on that.
and not to
You
digress,
ride with and walk against traffic.
Like a whole
Yeah.
pedestrian safety,
Yeah.
like, that would be great, because I thought you were supposed to walk with the
No,
cars.
you walk against
This is
traffic.
something to put in the Mount Lebanon magazine, like something.
They
yes,
did one. They
have
already
done.
did it.
Okay.
Yeah,
good.
It was like about, I think a
I
month or
think-
two ago it was in there.
Yeah.
So then this is just even more
Yeah.
reinforcement for it.
Good safety.
I'm amazed at the people in my neighborhood who don't use the sidewalks. I drive carefully, but I see like families with two kids and two strollers
It's,
walking down the middle of the street where there's sidewalks on both sides.
I mean, if the sidewalk is heaved in many
Yeah, I
places and
can
the
see
wheels
that.
get caught, like,
The babies.
And
that's why
sometimes like
you
getting out
couldn't
the-
ride skateboards in the nineties because the pavement was all over the place.
Good
I
news
still
was,
remember.
the other
Yeah.
good news was Greenhurst, they did do that section of Greenhurst that we were putting the sidewalk in, so it's
Okay.
connected.
Okay.
Next is, I can't speak specifically, but I think it's the upper portion of Lakemont.
So
Oh,
do
uh-huh.
we have like a, you know, a master goal of, is it sidewalks everywhere? Is it, can we know where?
Oh, that's a
Where
good
are
question.
they- because-
We're at 77%.
Somebody, I was talking to one of the commissioners that said that a lot of the sidewalks weren't because of a concrete shortage in the 1940s or something, and then the contract passed and they were just let it go. So I'm just curious, is there a plan, like, for, that we can,
We're doing sidewalks each year.
okay,
So it's just,
just keep adding?
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So, Lakemont, possibly Kelso next,
Mm.
because there's a lot of people that
Mhm.
are advocating for that.
Would you,
Salem.
if you were
Salem.
doing the ones on Kelso, how would you do that? Like, I mean, that's
I
a
know.
narrow street, like,
I know, and
are you
it's,
proposing any lanes narrowing, or is it just pulling, like,
I don't think we've got to
no
that
curb lines
stage yet.
changing? Okay.
Yep.
I'm just curious.
Would be a bit of a hike up the hill, but maybe you could like route the trail,
Yeah.
paved trail or something through Twin Hills, because there are times when I walk and I get to where the leaf pile had been, and then you take the access road on foot down, and then you've got that like 100 yards of perilousness
Mm-hmm, yeah,
to get
Well, I
back.
think that's what they're looking for, is some of those smaller spots
Mhm.
that you could make a connection where they're missing just a little
Yes.
bit.
Yeah,
And
that'd be
especially if
great.
they're close to schools or parks, that's where you're gonna get the most traffic.
yeah.
It is very staff labor intensive you have to get each owner of the property into the sidewalk. If you agree to it, we pay 90% and then they have to pay 10% of it. But it is very laborious to get, because we were thinking of, could we do two streets instead of one? And it's just
It takes too long
Yeah.
to get it done,
Yeah.
yeah.
to get people.
Okay. Anything else on the commission part?
No, that's
All right. We'll move on to staff liaison reports.
You have mine in front of you there, just some big things to note. Text and budget stuff for David and I is kind of hitting off the season here. Our text is due Friday, so items that you have suggested that aren't in the CIP level dollar-wise then get plugged into either David or I's operational budget. So you'll see a reflection of your prioritization between those two documents. And your ranking is in there for what you think about it, along with a nice text blurb from Dave and I explaining project processes. North Meadowcroft is finally punched out. We had some cracks in asphalt and brand new coating there we weren't pleased with, but I challenge you to go find the patch and where it was. Could be a game, we could try it back next month. Did a great job. Over at, let's see here, the other one, wanted to touch base with you on. Our last final ID sign, the footers were poured today at the Racket Center. That sign will be up probably tomorrow afternoon. From there, I do a rewind and get the second round of signs in. I didn't want to be sitting on a bunch of signs when it took me this long to get them in. Things go missing, things get scratched. So the next round of park signs, we'll get moving here probably later in the fall for installation. So just a refresher on some of those, there'll be secondary entrances to main big trailheads, Bird, Twin. Rob Hollow still needs identified closer to that intersection of the firing range, Public Works Yard, with some additional signage to keep you away from salt deliveries and backhoes and keep you over towards the park. So that's more of a wayfinding than just an ID portion of the project. So I don't have a service level plugged in for additional signage for 27. Doesn't mean we'll stop. Doesn't mean we won't take suggestions, everything like that. To me, it's a working, living thing as we go. So don't be worried that you don't see a signage parks phase 3. I don't think I have enough meat and potatoes in the game yet to just lump that in to ask for it. So, we'll do this as we go there. So, anything else in here, let me know if you have questions on. You'll see a service level I'm putting in for an overhaul of irrigation system down at Bird Park at John Doctor Field. That one is very hard to manage. It's 6 individual little pucks that are about this big, and they're in the ground, and they have batteries, and they're just everything you think they would be. They're great. And they require tons of labor to go through, adjust, percentages, account for rain days, stuff like that. So this would just be a replacement with a solar powered system with deep cell batteries, one central point where I can run down there, adjust things for the season and go. That's always a hard one for me to keep up on because those pucks also don't let you know if the batteries are dead, if the box in the ground flooded and it's fried. There's a lot of, it's intensive to keep that system up. But let me know if you got anything, as always.
David?
Yep, things are humming along for the summer. We continue running our summer camps like summer playground, sports zone, and more. We also have our summer skating school, hockey leagues. The pool's been going strong with all the hot weather, as has the golf course, which is also busy with leagues. And we recently hosted a combination hockey golf camp between the golf course and the ice rink. We kicked off our planning for the ice rink chiller replacement project. We will be operating on our temporary chiller throughout the project until it's complete. And a sign has been ordered to name the ice rink in honor of Frank Gill. Also, pickleball courts finally completed the coating, and they hosted an open house for pickleball. And we are in the midst of our fencing replacement project at the Racket Center. That's the end of my report.
All right, thank you. All right, we'll go head on to the subcommittee reports. Does the Arboretum Subcommittee have anything?
No.
Trail Connectivity and Mapping Subcommittee.
Nope. No.
Okay, old business, Youth Sports Organization Oversight Umbrella Organization. I don't have anything for that. Naming proposals, are there any additional ones from the hockey rink? Anything move forward anywhere? That I don't know that any, but
I'm not aware of any new proposals.
all right. And then Nature Conservancy Storage Shed. There's
Just
a piece of paper in the packet.
Yeah.
Little blurb in there. This was presented at their previous board meeting. Just give some nice points as to why they need it. Very well done, just something for you to glance through, but that work is progressing. We may be asked to show some letter of support or something like that, so I'll bring that to you guys if that comes to. But that might be something that Rudy and I can do, and then they don't need that, but the purpose is they're going after a grant to fund this shed and everything. So we've worked through everything we need to with zoning and permits and everything like that, so.
Okay, and then the, anything you need from this group, we're happy to provide, so just.
I will let you all know.
Okay, the last point of old business is the main park master plan. So I think tonight we were gonna spend a few minutes discussing that. We didn't get all the way through that the last time we talked about it. If you had a chance to look at the presentation on the share drive, that was the update from, I think it was the consultants presenting to the commissioners. It had a good summary of the differences between A, B, and C. So I didn't know if anybody had any comments or questions or anything about the new or the different options, and if they had a preference for any one option.
Forget where we left off, and I forget where the commissioners left off, but it looks like we're evolving consensus amongst groups other than perhaps us about option B, and I don't know what our, or not, I mean, that's a question that.
I think the consultant's recommendation was B,
Yeah.
but I don't know that the commissioners have come out and said
No, I don't
whether
think.
they agree or disagree.
No,
They're just
I
kind
don't
of
think-
taking on information at this
Yeah.
point.
Yes.
And I think our group had some concerns about B in the fact that it did provide
Not enough.
it did provide things that are needed, like more meeting space and if you look at the rec center, it needs
Yeah.
revamped. It definitely needs freshening up. But it was disappointing that the $20 million to do B does not get you a basketball court or indoor walking track. And I think that's what people are looking for, to spend that kind of money. They're looking for that.
And some like informal meeting spaces, not just
Yeah,
rooms to rent.
but in terms of accessibility, it does, the B does improve accessibility, it does definitely look a lot nicer. There is some exercise rooms, I think what, you have the thing there, I think the locker rooms are significantly bigger. The office space for the recreation office is significantly bigger.
Yeah.
Than what's currently there. So B does offer things, I just think from the public's point of view, there's gonna be a lot, I think you're gonna hear back that it's not enough for the price tag.
That's ridiculous. You'd hear from me, honestly. I think that is absolutely absurd to spend that much money on that. Rightfully so. There should be a little bit of a saying so on that. It's significant.
At the same time, I think that leaving it as is not an option either.
Seems like a lot of the changes are cosmetic. You know, when you're looking at the value of what it adds to the rec center, it's really not a whole lot for that.
That most
price
people could
tag.
use, like,
Yes.
maybe there's a subset that could use it, but as far as like the
General population.
general population of what people really could use to where you're gonna spend that kind of money on something. I'm curious though, they said option B, like what was their thought process on why they recommend option B?
I don't know if everybody is leaning towards that or not, or if there's a good solution yet regarding that you get 3 commissioners to vote on. But I have let them know that you guys were ambivalent about any of the plans.
I think it's not important to kind of define, like, what are we trying to add? What are our needs as a community first? And then try to find, you know, the best solution to what's gonna meet those needs. It doesn't seem like that's really been identified, other than it needs a facelift.
I think it's been identified, I think they understand, they want better, they want the meeting space to be better, the rec department wants more offices, they want, I think it's mostly classrooms for fitness, it's accessibility and the way that the building is currently
That's
connected is super choppy. I think locker rooms is one, and then I think the basketball and walking track, I mean, they've gone through and like talked to everyone in the community to do this, and to do the main park master plan and this, I think they know what they need. I think the problem is that space does not allow for, unless you're gonna go, and it seems like if they're the consultants, they don't wanna go up. So to get the basketball court, you have to add a different building. So whether you add it on that hillside or you find another location in the park area or you find a totally different location, it's almost like you need a sub-site to get the basketball court in. I'm not sure it's gonna happen there.
Maybe they need to look at a possible location in
Yeah.
addition to this, because it sounds like you're trying to force a square peg into a round hole.
Yeah.
And it's not, we're not going to get, you know, what, the best value for the money.
Are you,
My sense, I'm sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you, but my sense is, and it's just my sense, that, you know, sort of we collectively, define that as you will, can't afford, and there's no good space to do what we really want, which is a modern rec center with basketball courts and an indoor track, et cetera. So, you know, I think that options A and B, and C were probably about plans X, Y, and Z or something. Because if I recall correctly, there was like an earlier version of the study and they were looking at taking over the south parking garage site and other stuff. That's going back a few years and the details elude me. Some fun facts on the space comparison and the cost comparison, not to get in too far in the weeds. Option A would give an additional about 1,800 square feet. And obviously there are different kinds of square feet and different kinds of usefulness, but option B would give about 5,700 more square feet. And I have no idea what a rec center cost per square foot is going for nowadays. But, and I was confused by the cost, but option A, if I'm looking at the right cost, which it may not be, works out to about $6,300 per square foot. And option B works out to about about 3,000 per square foot.
I think that's probably why the consultants, to go back to your question, picked option B. I think value-wise, that's probably the best bang for your buck. It's just maybe not as much bang as we would like to see.
Can we make a recommendation as a committee that these are our priorities for the rec center and forward that on to the commission?
Yeah, I think maybe we,
Like you want basketball courts and
Yes,
you
yeah.
want,
but I think the idea, I think we're all understanding of the fact that like that might not be the site before that it, or I mean, whether it's on the hillside that they recommend doing that separate building next to, or down, there are some other places in the park that maybe you could fit it, or do you do a secondary recreation center within Mount Lebanon that you can do that with, other space in Mount Lebanon, whether it's the stadium at the high school or whether it's other property that's not currently owned by the municipality, but could be,
But then I could imagine people saying, then don't spend $20 million on something that isn't going to solve the problem.
yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, like that's.
But at the same time, like, I don't think to do nothing, they've done nothing for a long time, and now if you look at in that proposal, if you look at the pictures of how it is now, it's sad, like, and they did end up fixing the roof, but like, they've been putting it off and putting it off and putting it off, and what's there, whether it stays the exact same, needs a facelift, so I don't think doing nothing is the
I
answer.
mean, it's been 50 years.
Yeah,
Something should be done. I think we all agree
yeah,
there.
I don't wanna say
So I'm
no
gonna,
to everything.
you guys know I spent a lot of time on this 2 years ago. The people in this room who were on the committee back then know that I spent a lot of hours putting together a proposal. And I'm underwhelmed by all three of these proposals, because I don't think we should spend the money to not get what we really want out of it.
Yeah.
And other communities are doing it. I put all that in my research as well. Communities are spending 40, 50, 60, 70 million dollars to put these facilities in. So if Mount Lebanon wants to compete and do something, we should do something great.
Yeah.
We should be bold, and we should be courageous, and we should act with courage and be bold.
And not have to do it
And
for
if these
another-
proposals don't get it done and people are gonna be underwhelmed by it, let's consider something else. Let's consider the proposal that we all agreed on unanimously in '24. Now, some of us weren't on the committee then, but at that time, we agreed at least to have conversations about my proposal. I don't know if those conversations happened, maybe they did, maybe they didn't. I know people have come and gone, the commission has changed, school board members have changed. I know there's a new liaison, I think Andrew is the liaison with the school district. Could we spend $40 million and optimize our tax base and get a new rec center and a new stadium? That'd be pretty cool, and that would be great. And there would be basketball, I say courts. Courts could be anything, basketball, indoor soccer, indoor lacrosse, Pilates, whatever the courts could be used for. Volleyball, right?
It would also be really nice to have a community center tie in directly into that stadium. Would be,
Sure.
you could have some really cool parties
You
or
really
events.
could, you really could.
I don't know.
Daniel
It doesn't
Langen,
get used much otherwise.
Daniel Langen did the drawings for the stadium
Yeah.
in 2022, 23, Draw Collective. He's the one who put these together. Daniel's great. He could put something together and create something that we could save hard construction costs, save on a 20-year bond, and get everything done and optimize the tax base. The school district's gonna spend $10 to $12 million on something, we're gonna spend 40. Let's do it all in one project for 40 and get everything done. We
So
don't,
what
there's only
happens-
so
what
many
happens to the-
taxes,
what
there's only so much taxes we can spend.
What happens to the current rec center in this, with this idea? Do you?
I don't know, keep it,
Because the
I mean-
ice rink, you're not gonna duplicate
Keep
in the
it.
stadium.
If you're extending out like the hillside there into, I guess you'd say where the basketball courts are, you could probably do some sort of connector of the old and the new over, like a bridge or something
Yeah.
like that. So, I mean, they have a walkway in the high school, connecting
Yeah, I know.
buildings.
I don't
You
know,
could
yeah,
have-
maybe, I was thinking just keep the rec center or the
Yeah,
ice
keep-
rinks the way they are.
Yeah, keep it as it is, but I'm saying you could have an aerial connector
Yeah.
if you needed to.
So
Yeah.
what happened, you said you spent a lot of time on this 2 years ago, so I'm new, so educate me, like
There's
what?
a file in the Google Drive, and
So what
I can
happened to
point
it?
it to you, I can even send it to you.
But what happened, like did it
We just
die,
talked
or did
about it, we talked about it
Yeah.
for over months,
The-
just discussion, I was presenting materials, I even had some renderings created.
Decision makers
The,
weren't
the school
talking.
didn't.
The commissioners.
Yeah, the commissioners and the school board have to decide that this is what they wanna pursue and to
But I
pursue.
did a lot of research, I did some, napkin math projections on bond ratings, 20-year bond costs, hard construction costs. It can be done. And the school district would have to participate, the municipality would have to participate, you guys know. But boy, that would be great, that would be wonderful.
And we need
Something like that could be,
It's gonna last for another 50 years.
we only have so many tax dollars.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We're, the school district taxes continue to go up, the municipality taxes have been pretty flat.
Mhm.
But I think the
Which
school
is
district
good.
was aren't they having like a major budget crisis right now?
They are.
Yeah, but, and so
So
they're,
this
they're
would help
raising taxes,
them,
and municipality's
because-
pretty good shape.
Mhm.
They're not, you guys aren't
Financially,
raising our
they're-
taxes, but there's only so much tax dollars we have, and if we optimize the tax base for the community and for the citizens and do one project instead of doing two, the stadium has to get fixed. It's not going anywhere, we're not putting a new stadium over somewhere else. So that has to stay, but
And to add to that, I think that I agree with you, the stadium is not, needs replaced, fixed, and we've said the rec center needs at the very minimum a facelift. The other issue I'd like to bring up is parking. There's already a parking issue at the high school, there's parking issues with the rec center and the surrounding fields and stuff. So if you look at the parking in the presentation, the whole presentation, there's some information about parking. If they do the new parking, if they do the new, like, the need for parking increases from 1107 to 1206 in terms of number of spots. Currently, there's only 373 spaces. And this is counting like Commissioner's Lot, the rec center lot, the parking along Cedar. And so it said with the new design, it didn't clarify whether it was A, B, or C. I'm gonna assume it was B. You get 468 spots, so you're still short like 740 spots. So as we talk about this, and I agree, let's be bold, let's get everything we want. If we're gonna spend $40 or $50 million, let's just think outside the box and do something terrific. Everybody has agreed that this location, this site is in central to Mount Lebanon is where we wanna be. But I think parking has to be a big part of that. And again, whether you do something next to Dixon Field and attach it to the rec center, or you do something attached to the stadium, if you go up that
You
hill.
can put a deck right next to the,
However,
Grandstands.
that has to be part
Parking
of this has to be part of that.
Yep.
And that deck could be used during the day by the school, it could be used during the day by the rec center.
Mhm.
It's shared space and it's in use and in ownership.
make no mistake, the
Yeah.
school district could use the capacity for new courts, new rooms, new everything. They could use that as well. Community and the citizens could use it on the weekends as well. So everyone wins by this. The school district needs capacity, the community needs capacity. We're landlocked, we only have so many places we can do stuff. I love the location, it's definitely, central, right? Right there is where it needs to be, right? That's perfect.
Two thoughts.
We could collect money for it and have revenue generation, have all sorts of stuff. I drive around,
It's a
I see
big,
these communities.
it's a big
rec
idea,
centers,
but it's
and
a
I'm like,
good idea.
Wow, I
Yeah.
can't believe what I see out there. In communities you would never think. Like Trinity High School, I'm like, what in the world? Couldn't believe it, what they put in down there. It's shocking.
Two thoughts along the lines of Pat's outlining, and thank you, Pat, for reminding us, because I know you had this idea a couple of years ago, and it struck me as certainly well worth researching and pushing along further. One is, if we don't like any of these options, I wonder if there's like a subset of scenario or option A, or whatever we're calling it, which is to make the bathrooms accessible or just, and maybe put it in the elevator or something. Just sort of
And the
minimum
facelift,
ADA
yes,
compliant
yes.
stuff
Get,
to make it
get
more
up to
accessible.
code, but
Get up to code and make it more useful for all the citizens. And back at stay the ice rink and meeting rooms and things, while something
so
grander and multi-purposed and integrated is planned, designed, and constructed. The
So
second,
approve a facelift
Address
while
address the
planning the,
minimum things,
Yeah.
get them addressed.
and I'm probably speaking way out of term, but I do municipal finance and capital programs stuff for a living, mostly water and sewer. But I don't know, and I don't know what the law is in Pennsylvania in any great detail along these lines, but, there are a lot of municipalities, counties, et cetera, around the region that have improvement authorities or something. And I guess we used to have parking authority. And I don't know what the tax implications of, and Mount Lebanon Stadium Authority or something along those lines that could build and finance it with revenue bonds and then lease it to the municipality and to the school district or whatever. I mean, it's still gonna cost 40, 50, 60 million dollars, and, we still have 33,000 folk to pay for it, so.
Kind of falls along the lines of what this youth
Umbrella,
sports
it
organization
does,
umbrella is.
Which
See
the
where you're
idea is
going there.
put all the assets
Have
under
another
one
entity,
umbrella and they
Create
rent
an
them back.
entity
Yeah, they rent them back to the
that the school
municipality.
district, the municipality participates in, and then you lease it or whatever you manage it.
I
Yeah.
think in just to kind of pull people's comments together, I think we understand it needs a facelift, but we're rejecting the big ideas, looking for something a little bigger and bolder. So I would say that we're not happy with what the consultants came up with in terms of like the various designs. So, and I think what the best thing is to have a recommendation for that. Do you think we have enough time to pull together our thoughts in writing kind of offline and bring back a sort of a written recommendation that we could approve at the next meeting? Is that okay for timing wise for what you guys are doing?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna throw out that that's what we do, because I think I don't wanna try to pull something together tonight during the meeting. I think that's too difficult. I think we can take our comments, Pat, you and I can work together and kind of come up with something, and we can even
Share it with everybody.
share it with everybody and then present it at the next meeting and vote
That's a
on it
great
then.
idea.
That's a great idea. So let's do that, because I think we're all sort of consensus wise feeling the same way. The whole thing is, if you're gonna spend this much money, let's not compromise on what we want. Let's get exactly what we want.
And if Pat already did the work, does it make sense to dig out his proposal and look at it?
Yeah, I think
to
that's part of
see-
it. And even if we use that just as an example of a big idea, it doesn't have to be the big idea, but it's what we're looking for. We're looking for something big and bold, and it may not be the only possibility, but it's a possibility. So like that's what we're wanting to think about, that we want to think outside the box a little more than what these consultants have done.
I mean, if option C is 42 million and the high school reconstruction of the one grandstand side is 8 to 10, let's call it 50 combined, could you do the whole thing for 40?
Or 60, and it still come out about
You're similar, but you probably end up with more than what you would have had otherwise.
No, I agree. No, I mean, we have to get past the point where
I know Andrew liked it,
institutional,
Commissioner Flynn.
Yeah.
He at least liked the idea of hashing it out and talking through it, and maybe there have been discussions around that. Maybe you're aware of it, maybe, I don't know, but there were a couple commissioners that seemed to, at least they definitely approved the idea of discussions.
Just so you know, Commissioner Izzo approached the school district about, she had a lot of constituents that were interested in turfing Mellon
Mm-hmm.
or Jefferson.
Yeah.
And we got word back from the school district that at this point, because of their financial issues, there is no
money to pay for that.
money to,
They were furloughing employees, as I read at the beginning of the school year, so I
so
mean,
they
if
don't have
you're,
any,
if you're shorting teachers, you
Yeah.
can't, like.
They
The
have
only
nothing
thing
that
that they're
could contribute.
accomplishing is if it's done with private donations. That's the only thing that's happening at the school district level. However, if they know they need an asset fixed, replaced, whatever, and there's a solution for that, I think there's a conversation to be had about sharing that
The other thing
fiscal
was,
responsibility.
they didn't want particularly municipal as part of that funding, for a joint funding thing for either of those ideas.
Right, they didn't want anybody else to pay for the municipality to step in on the turfing side of things.
Wait, so they're saying, no, you can't have it, and no, we don't want anyone else to pay for it?
It was,
Not quite that, I think they don't want to have the municipality pay for it, I think if
And
somebody
then
walks
us
in
have
and says,
control over it.
yes,
I
Because
get it.
if it's the municipality, it's coming with
Yeah.
strings.
Well, what's wrong with that? It gets it done, and then, because the municipality uses it for a lot of,
Cause the school wants their property to be used for school things.
well, the school should maintain it better then. Sorry, but that's, putting that out there.
That's the community elected school board
Better.
members for decades that did
And
that
And
as a
that's,
school
can I
board, so
also
that's a
say, that's why
longer
you
story.
don't
There.
elect your neighbor for school board member, you actually pay attention to what they stand for. You know, not just, oh, I know Joe Schmo, like, what do you stand for? How are you gonna make our community better? Hold people to task.
If it's their asset, I get why they would feel that way. But you guys don't need the help. And I say you guys, the municipality doesn't need them for this. They need you for this. You know what I'm saying? They're the ones that need the help. You guys are in good shape, you guys. The municipality is,
Financially
Doing pretty
stable,
good.
in a good place to get a higher bond rating.
so this is a way to lift them up, to be the, you know, the wealthy aunt or uncle that comes in and helps somebody out, right? And like says, hey, you're down, we can help you out. And let's figure something out where we can help share in the cost, you lease it back, we kind of create some creative, I mean, stuff like that can be worked out. The municipality doesn't need them. I know that. But they need help. So this is a way where, to do something great.
And I think things are changing, I think like you said, the school board's turned over, commissioners have turned over, it's worth pursuing, continuing to pursue. But then the same is true for the youth sports organization umbrella concept too, that we were kind of waiting for some turnover there to continue to push that forward, so. Let's go ahead with the plan of coming up with some wording and a consensus of a statement from this board that we can vote on at the next time and get past that on to the commission in terms of the Main Park Master Plan. Does that sound good for everybody? All right, that's the end of old business. New business was talking about the ordinance with e-bikes and municipal parks, which we've pretty much already discussed. So unless anybody else has anything additional, I think we can skip past that. Is there any other new business that anybody has?
One more suggestion about the campaign on the e-bikes, because there is so much hearsay, I think it would be really helpful for somebody to put together a written campaign that could be shared on social media where it is very clear in
We're
black
already-
and white.
We're on that.
Yeah,
Okay.
like,
Yeah.
so that way it could be shared like in all,
Yeah.
all like the groups and stuff
Yes.
and boom, like
Yeah, we
black
just
and white.
discussed it.
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
no.
because there's an opportunity for some orchestration, because the school district has a policy too. And they kind of list their thing out, right? You're not allowed to ride e-bikes to school.
Mm.
And now the municipality's coming out with theirs, which is good.
That's interesting.
So
Yeah,
there's a
they're
way-
doing it. Yeah, they are doing a joint
Somehow,
education.
Yeah,
good.
Yeah,
That's
Let's
good.
put together a joint statement brought to you by all of Mount Lebanon. Whether you go to school or the municipality, these are the rules.
okay, anything else?
Next meeting might have some form of information as we get closer to looking to start the whole project for Middle Seymour Lot, Bradford, and how that works. And so as I have good information, I'll give it to you.
Right.
I don't want to give you just clouds right now and like come back and change the clouds around and tell you, so.
Right.
Those meetings are starting to happen to talk about, timelines, construction schedules, estimates, so.
And David, I was not at the fall field meeting for the first time in 8 years. Did that go over well with talking about the new turf and how that was gonna impact everybody's fall schedules?
I was also not at the meeting, but that was discussed. And I think, we gave them the information that we have, our best estimate of the timeline. But they need to be prepared if it does encroach on either the end of the fall season or the beginning
Yeah.
of the spring season. They should have a fallback plan. But we scheduled the whole season as if, it would happen.
It would be available, and it wouldn't really,
Yeah.
nothing would really start until after that sort of early November timeline.
Well, I'm not saying it wouldn't start. I'm saying we scheduled the season as if it wouldn't start. But
Is it-
people need to have a fallback plan.
Okay, in the fall, in the late fall and in the spring. How far into the spring do you think that fallback plan? February, yes, March, yes, into April, yes?
It's really dependent upon one of the things it's dependent upon is how mild is the winter? How much work can we get done? And then of course, other things beyond our control, contractors, supply chain, all those kinds of things. When we built it from scratch, it took us all the way. We didn't open the field till July 14th, I believe was the date. I don't expect it's going to be that bad. But I think it's quite possible that we could be there in March or April.
Okay. All right, that's good to know and to pass on. Anything else? Our next meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, August 19th. I will be there. Alex, you're off the hook, I just heard.
I will not be here next week.
All right, so 6 p.m. you can attend via Zoom or in person. And with that, we will go ahead and adjourn at 6:48. Thanks, everybody.
See you, David. Thanks,
David.
Hope you're feeling better.
Thank you. Good night.